people, and she does compatibility writing tests, and also she works for attorneys, you know, to special documents. So this lady is truly busy. She does a lot of lectures, she gives classes, and she insists you change your handwriting and you change your life. About this and much more we're going to talk tonight, but right now, welcome Sheila Lowe. Sheila. Sheila, good to have you on the show.
Thanks, good to be here.
Well, why don't we start with you?
Okay.
Tell us a little bit. We have really, most viewers have not heard too much about graphology, at least not on this show. So tell us what it's about. How did you get into it?
Well, graphology is the generic term for handwriting analysis. And handwriting analysis is a way of understanding personality. It was very interesting to me to hear you talking about the palms, because a lot of what you said is correlated in handwriting. For instance, the lower part of handwriting is the past, the physical aspects. The middle part is the present and the relationship parts, and the upper part is the spiritual and the intellectual.
Yeah, that is interesting, right. You know, often astrology, graphology, and palmistry, it all kind of runs together, because if you like one, you often like the other, because I have also several books on graphology, you know, and I find it extremely interesting, and it is accurate. If you, for instance, would do analyze a person's personality, and I would do it, I don't believe you can fortune tell, you know, but I would do the personality of that person, it would almost be identical, and I've tried that with an astrologer. It was the same thing, you know.
That's undoubtedly true. There are, the methods may be different. Handwriting analysis, we use measurements and we look under a microscope, and it has a real scientific basis. It's been researched and validated in European universities mostly, and also in this country. It's getting more recognition. But there are some limits, like anything else. There are some things that you can't tell from handwriting. For instance, you cannot tell a person's age. You can tell how mature they are. You cannot tell conclusively their sex. You can tell if they're masculine or feminine. And you can't tell which hand they write with.
Really?
Also, you can't tell the future. You can tell a lot about the past and the effects it might have, but you can't tell the future with handwriting.
I'm amazed though that you would not be able to tell whether someone is left or right-handed.
No, you can't conclusively. There are some signs where you can guess at it.
Yeah.
But when we know a person is left-handed, we give them a little extra credit, because they have a lot of challenges to overcome in a right-handed world.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit also about yourself now. What do the things that you do, you have your own business, and you consult, you work with other businesses. Do they hire? I noticed here on your booklet, hiring the right way.
Yes.
So maybe you want to address that a little.
Okay, about 75% of my business is directed towards companies, corporations, people who are hiring usually. They send the handwritings of applicants to my office, and we give them an objective analysis of the candidates. We don't tell them who they should hire, but by comparing what we find in the handwriting to a job description, we can see whether the person has the right qualities for the job. I do also personal types of analysis, as you mentioned, compatibility between business partners, between marriage partners, and anybody who needs to be compatible, parents and children. And then the rest of my business is in a completely different, though related area, and that's question documents. I do work with attorneys, I work with the Office of the Public Defender, and testify in court as an expert witness as to whether a document is forged or not.
Do you find, as time goes on now, with the 90s being here, do you find people become more open to it than, let's say, when you started out?
Yes, when I started out I was 17. That was quite a long time ago. We're talking about more than 25 years ago. And it has come a long way, probably mostly in the last 5 years, I would say. And now they say between 10,000 and 15,000 companies in this country are using it. It's been accepted in Europe for a couple of hundred years.
Yes.
But in this country, it's been slower.
Even palmistry, you know. I mean, I've found this magazine in Europe that the politicians, they ask actually the politicians to send in their handprints.
Really?
And if some refuse to, then they say, well, listen, if he does not want to show your hand, you do not want to vote for him. You know, like this type of thing. It's amazing that they are much more open to this than we are here.
Yeah. Well, with handwriting analysis, it started in France with a French monk. and all the research was done there, and then later on it was taken up in Germany, and they continued into Switzerland, and now it's very big in Israel. So handwriting analysts here are promoting more research.
Oh, yeah. What's the favorite thing when you're doing it? Do you like to work with companies, or do you prefer to work with people, with individuals?
Well, I like both. Of course, with individuals, well, let me first say that most of the time I never meet my clients because the work is all done over the phone, the fax, and the mail. And because we do work all over the country and in other countries, in Sweden and England and other countries, you know, we can't meet the clients. So it doesn't really make a lot of difference. It's nice because most of my business is in the personnel field. It's nice to sometimes have the personal, because then you get to be more personal.
Yeah, and you get also more feedback.
Exactly.
Or do you get, like, for instance, if you do a compatibility thing, you don't know whether they do get married, decide to get married or not, right?
Most of the time I don't. It brings to mind a situation that kind of turned out unfortunately. A woman had written to me and sent her fiancés and her writing, and it really was not a good idea. And she'd also had astrology charts done and other things, and they all said this is not a good idea. However, she didn't listen to any of that. And I got a letter from her about 3 years later saying, I'm on the run, I have lost my home and all my money, and now I'm running for my life, and I wish I had listened to the analysis.
But you see, the answer was already within her heart, but she wanted the right confirmation, and when she didn't get it, she just did it, you know, and not really, because if you doubt that much, I mean, it wouldn't occur to me, you know, I mean, you know the person. If you have that much doubt, you go and have this done, this and this and that, and then you go against it anyway, right?
Yeah, it doesn't make